Hello everyone, and welcome to the second EasyPro webinar entitled Energy Performance Contracting and Effective Tendering Procedures for the EPC Procurement at Irish Universities. My name is Dr. Sean Travers. I work at Cork Communications in Dublin, and I lead the dissemination and communication for the EasyPro project. This webinar will provide an introduction to energy performance contracting and outline the role of an EPC facilitator, effective tendering procedures for EPC procurement at Irish universities, and much more. Today's speaker is Dr. Luciano De Tommasi from University College Cork's International Energy Research Centre, or the IERC, and Luciano is the coordinator of the EasyPro project. Please keep your microphone muted throughout the presentation, and once Luciano's presentation is complete, we will have time for a Q&A session and discussion. Please type all questions you have during and after the presentation in the chat. I would also like to remind you that this webinar will be recorded. So thank you for your attention and cooperation. I shall now pass you over to Luciano for the EasyPro webinar.
Thanks very much, Sean. So the objective of this webinar is to present some initial results of one of our tasks in the project, which was about reviewing the tendering procedures that could be used by Irish universities to procure energy performance contracts, and also provide a recommendation on which procedure is most suitable according to EasyPro view of and knowledge of the planned projects for Irish universities. So this is the summary of the presentation. First of all, I will review quickly what an energy performance contract is, relationships between customer, ESCO, and investor-lender, how the EPC compares versus traditional project delivery approach, what the EasyPro is doing to facilitate procurement of energy performance contracting at Irish universities, the structure of an energy performance contract, the role of an EPC facilitator. And after this introduction, I will go through the tendering procedures for the EPC procurement. First of all, I'll go quickly through some EU directives that are relevant with public procurement in Ireland. Then talk about mini competitions, and then go through the review of procedures for public procurement in Ireland, recommendations to Irish universities for EPC procurement, and also structure of pre-qualification questionnaire, because as we will see in the previous slides, pre-qualification is a best practice. So we have started to define some requirements for a questionnaire that is going to be used for pre-qualifying the ESCOs, which will be followed by the actual questionnaire. Parliament defines the energy performance contracting as a contractual arrangement between the beneficiary and the provider of an energy efficiency improvement measure, where investments in that measure are paid for in relation to a contractually agreed level of energy efficiency improvement. This means that in the energy performance contract, the parties, in this case a university and an ESCO, agree a certain level of energy savings, and the payment that the provider of the measure or the measures receive depend on whether these target savings are achieved or not. So the relationship between the parties is as follows. So the customer pays a service fee to the ESCO, and the ESCO delivers a smart energy service, so delivers basically guaranteed energy savings for the retrofit. And the ESCO is actually taking a loan with an investor or lender, and can be a bank. So they receive the funding that is necessary to purchase the equipment, the energy efficiency measures, and then repay the loan to the lender. What's the I have also to say that the customers may avail public grants. So there are grants in Ireland that can be used by the universities to fund part of the energy efficiency measures. So these are also part of the model that we are considering now. What's the difference between an energy performance contract and the traditional approach? The traditional approach is also known as design, bid, and build model, or design tender. And with that model, the risks are with the building owner, in this case, a university, including possible increase of the cost of the works, technology risks associated with the integration of new equipment and measures within the existing building systems, and also uncertainty about the operational performance of the installed energy efficiency measures. So the measures might deliver lower saving than what was expected when the system was designed. With the EPC model, first of all, the university is contracting with a single company. So this is a one-stop shop approach. So the ESCO is managing all the relationships with finance providers, energy suppliers, mechanical and electrical engineering consultants, technology suppliers, and installers with a single contract. So it's much easier to procure. And in addition, with the model, with the energy performance contracting model, the ESCO receives a payment that depends on the performances. So the risk is in the ESCO actually bears the risk of having a lower performances than expected. What is the EasyPro project doing? So EasyPro stands for Easy Procurement of Energy Performance Contracts at Irish University. So the project is developing a facilitation service, which is offered to 4 Irish universities: University College Cork, Technological University Dublin, Dublin City University, and Maynooth University. The main objective is to assist the procurement, legal, finance, and estates teams with the EPC procurement process, establishing a framework for the ESCOs for the delivery of EPC contracts, and a framework that allows to select contractors, which will be then invited to a competitive dialogue process. In addition, the project also performs an investor matchmaking between funds, so investors and EPC projects planned at the 4 universities, and assists the universities with closing the financial agreements for the agreed project bundles. In a previous webinar, which we held in May, we have reviewed the structure of an energy performance contract. The slides and the recording of the webinar are available. So we went through how an energy performance contract is structured, and in particular referring to the state of the art, which is a SCI template. And the project we may also develop, it is our expectation that we will need to develop a bespoke template, so not necessarily using the SCI template, Just to start from the state of the art. We reviewed these the sections, the works. There is a section that describes the works to be performed in the building, the service, what is included in the service, the measurement, verification, guarantee, and payment. Here, all the clauses that related to measurements and verification of energy savings, how the payment are performed. When the guarantees are guaranteed that energy savings are not met, there is compensation that TSCO pays back to the client. Plus, the final section is a miscellaneous of other contractual clauses. The EasyPro project is taking the role of EPC facilitator, so it provides assistance to procurement management and assistance for project financing. At some extent, EPC contract management could also be covered at some extent, even though when the EPC contract is established, and let's say the EasyPro service ends. The energy performance contract, energy service company performs energy audits, designs the systems, installs and commissions the energy efficiency improvement measures, performs the periodic measurement and verification service, and also is in charge or oversees the maintenance service. If they're not doing directly, they provide some guidelines for maintenance, because of course it must be done following the guidelines, the agreed guidelines. These two actors interact with the building owner, so in this case an Irish university, to deliver the energy performance contracting. The policies that are relevant with public procurement in Ireland. There are mainly three EU directives that have been transposed into national laws in Ireland. The first one is the Public Procurement Directive, which governs the procurement of works, supplies, and services by public authorities. It's a directive that establishes principles of transparency, equal treatment, and competition, and ensures that the authorities, in this case the Irish universities, consider value for money and can adopt outcome-based innovative procurement approaches. A second directive is related to utilities. It's Utilities Directive, also called, applies to entities in water, energy, transport, and postal services as well, and recognizes the special characteristics of utilities procurement, such as technical complexity and strategic importance, permits flexibility in tendering and evaluation for projects that may have non-standard technical requirements. Then there is a third called Concessions Directive that regulates awards of concessions, where the contractor, in our case an ESCO, bears significant operational or financial risk. This directive is relevant with EPC when the ESCO is paid mainly through exploiting the works or services or from user revenues, bearing significant performance or demand risks rather than receiving fixed payments. It may or may not be relevant with EPCs. What are the mini competitions? Before going into review of the procurement procedures that are applicable in the public sector in Ireland, first of all, we assume, and that's the outcome also of our task of reviewing and designing effective tendering procedures, that it is very convenient for the Irish universities to have a framework agreement, pre-select ESCOs, pre-qualify ESCOs, and run mini competitions. So these mini competitions are procurement rounds that are conducted within a framework agreement and which allow pre-qualified energy service companies to bid for energy performance contract project bundles at the Irish universities. So typically, a framework agreement will include more project bundles, and the ESCOs that have been pre-qualified on that framework can bid for all the project bundles participating in mini competitions. So this approach combines two key advantages. So first of all, the framework agreement is efficient because the suppliers are pre-qualified and standardized contract terms are used. And so the universities can run mini competitions quickly and consistently. They don't need to repeat the full procurement process for each project. And this allows to save time, reduce the administrative work, and ensure predictable outcomes for both the university and the bidders. The competitive dialogue is a very flexible procedure because each mini competition allows to have a structured discussion between the bidders, so the ESCOs, and the procuring body to refine the technical solution, to discuss the financing, and also to discuss the performance guarantees. This approach is encouraging innovation, so not using standardized solutions, optimize energy savings, and creates value for money for complex EPC projects. Okay, there are a number of steps. Pre-qualification, so invitation to participate in the competitive dialogue process, then energy audits and preparation for EPC proposals to be submitted by the ESCOs, request for proposal and competitive dialogue, then the actual invitation to tender and selection of the successful ESCO. This is one of the procedures that we think it's most suitable for most energy performance contracts that could be done at Irish universities. However, there are multiple procurement options that can be followed, and the choice really depends on the complexity of the project and the degree of definition. So the simplest procedure is the open procedure, which is a procurement procedure that is fully open to all suppliers, and it's suitable for simple projects mainly. Then we have a restricted procedure that adopts a two-stage process where the suppliers must be pre-qualified in order to submit tenders. So it's not open to everybody. Then we have a competitive procedure with negotiation. In this case, it is allowed negotiation between the shortlisted bidders, so the ESCOs that are pre-qualified, and the procuring body on some aspects of the energy performance contracts. And then we have competitive dialogue, which includes a structured dialogue to refine solutions, technical solutions, structured dialogue between ESCOs, so the bidders, and procuring body. And this is suitable especially for complex or innovative projects. Then we have an innovation partnership. So the innovation partnership is a suitable procedure for develop in a collaborative manner entirely new products or services. So services which are completely new and are very innovative. In this case, more time is required to develop such services. Then we have framework agreements, where pre-qualified suppliers join a framework with agreed terms, and they can participate in recurring procurements or the mini competitions. So the open procedures, for each of these procedures, we have reviewed the pros and cons, and then we have come up with our recommendation. And of course, this may be discussed further, and we think like competitive dialogue and framework agreements are the procurement procedures that are most suitable for most EPCs, but there may be some EPCs that are simpler and they would not require competitive dialogue, for example. So we reviewed these procedures and created the report with strengths, limitations, so all the pros and cons and final recommendations. The open procedure allows any interested supplier to submit a tender. The bids are evaluated against predefined criteria, and the contract is awarded to the most economically advantageous proposal. So the strength of this procedure is that it is fully transparent. All the suppliers have an equal opportunity to participate, and this is good because it ensures a fair competition between the ESCOs. It's a simple procedure, so the procurement process is straightforward. There is a single stage tendering procedure. The administrative complexity is low, so there is no need to pre-qualify the bidders, and this reduces the paperwork and evaluation effort. The limitations, there are three main limitations in our view, so there is no possibility to negotiate or to clarify the bids once they are submitted, so the contracting authorities cannot discuss or modify proposal, so adaptability of the submitted bids is it's very limited. There is no suitability for more complex projects. The projects that require innovative solutions or flexible design, for example, EPC retrofits that cover multiple buildings, cannot be easily accommodated with this framework, with this procedure. And the outcome is really dependent on the bid quality because there is no dialogue between procuring body and bidders. So the procuring authority relies entirely on the suppliers to interpret also the requirements correctly and to submit high quality bids. The second procedure, so it's the restricted procedure. This is a two stages procedures. First of all, the suppliers submit expressions of interest to demonstrate their capability. Then suppliers are shortlisted and are invited. The shortlisted suppliers are invited to tender. So the strengths are that this procedure ensures only capable and experienced suppliers can participate in the procurement process. It reduces the evaluation workload because the pool of bidders is reduced to only the bidders that have been previously pre-qualified. So not all the ESCOs that could bid will actually bid. And it's a procedure which is helpful to manage projects of moderate complexity, but where the technical competence is critical. So this procedure could be applied to moderately complex EPC projects, for example, some single building, I would say, or simple upgrades to heating, ventilation, and so on. So it might have some applicability to some not very complex EPC projects. The limitation is the limited flexibility because once the bids are submitted, there is no possibility to negotiate the bids after their submission. So it may reduce competition compared to the open procedure because competition is limited to pre-qualified bidders. And certainly we think it is not applicable to highly innovative retrofits where the technical solutions are complex and need iterative refinement of these solutions with the dialogue between the parties. Framework agreements, framework agreements establish pre-qualified suppliers panels and also standardized terms to participate in the bids. And then the mini competitions are used for specific projects to collect the bids for particular project bundles. So the strengths include that this procedure reduces the time and the administrative effort for repeated procurements. Once that the companies, the ESCOs are on the framework, then they are pre-qualified. They are aware of how the framework works, so they can participate in the mini competitions for the project bundles they are interested in. The procedure provides consistency and predictability for suppliers, enables multiple projects to be run efficiently under the same contractual conditions. So the frameworks, as I said, pre-qualify ESCOs for all the universities, EPCs that are under that framework. There may be more than one framework though. And the mini competition would use competitive dialogue to agree some technical aspects and also financing, and also it could be also energy savings. And the limitations is that this procedure is less flexible than bespoke procedures if the framework terms are rigid, so it may result in a certain rigidity of the framework. And also the framework should be designed in such a way that allows innovation, so allows a competitive dialogue as opposed to a standardized service and standardized EPC, which would not allow a competitive dialogue. But let's say, like, the frameworks can be combined with the competitive dialogue. So this is actually competitive procedure with negotiation, which is a simpler procedure compared to competitive dialogue. But it is a procedure that allows negotiation with shortlisted bidders after initial proposal, and this negotiation aims to refine technical, financial, and some contractual elements before completing the procurement process. This procedure allows negotiation of complex aspects, and it's of course more complex than the restricted procedure, but allows to adjust the requirements. So with this procedure, the technical requirements are mostly defined, but there are some adjustments, and it encourages improved value for money. It is effective for EPC that are which uses standardized components. So they do require some negotiation, but at the same time, not a completely, not a very innovative solution necessarily. So once the final tenders are submitted, no further negotiation is possible. This procedure is less suitable for highly innovative or evolving projects compared to the competitive dialogue. And it does not allow a kind of iterative co-design with the ESCO, where the procuring body wishes to design the solution, engaging in a dialogue with the ESCOs. So the competitive dialogue, on the other hand, enables the contracting authorities to engage in structured discussions and allows to jointly develop technical, financial, or operational solutions for the EPCs. So it is very flexible and it's an outcome-focused procedure, supports innovative and customized solutions. It allows refinement of project scope, technology, and financing with a kind of iterative dialogue. So with this procedure, compared to the negotiation, more time can be spent to negotiate, to refine the solution. It enables to develop complex EPCs, even for multiple buildings that require innovative energy solutions. The university can set with this procedure outcome-based targets, for example, energy savings, rather than prescription on what measures need to be installed. So the ESCOs can be given some freedom also on suggesting energy efficiency measures. The limitations are that this procedure is more resource intensive and time consuming than open or restrictive procedures, and also more time consuming and resource intensive compared to the previous procedure with the negotiation. So competitive procedure with negotiation. And so for this reason, competitive dialogue requires a strong project management and a structure to develop a structured dialogue process between the procuring bodies, the universities, and the ESCOs. What are the differences? These two procedures are quite similar. They both allow negotiations. A competitive procedure with negotiation is used mostly when the requirements are mostly defined, but there is some flexibility that allows for a negotiation. So the contracting authority may negotiate improvement to initial tenders like price, project delivery, or some technical requirements. Once the final tenders are submitted, no further negotiation is allowed. And the focus of the competitive dialogue with negotiation is to refine existing proposal. So it's not meant to co-develop new solutions. Competitive dialogue is used for more complex or innovative projects where the requirements or solutions cannot be fully defined upfront. So at the time when the procurement process starts, not all the requirements are clear, and so the procuring body wants to discuss the technical solutions in competitive dialogue with the ESCOs, and therefore this is a kind of joint development. So when the dialogue, the competitive dialogue ends, the bidders submit the final tenders, and there is possibility to clarify and specify and optimize the bid after submission. That's limited because they cannot change completely the technical scope. This competitive dialogue procedure focuses on co-creation and solution optimization. So it's not only focused on improvement of predefined or already predefined proposal. There is also another procedure which probably is not even more complex than competitive dialogue. That is called the innovation partnership. And this is adopted when there is no suitable market solution And so the authorities collaborate with suppliers to develop a completely new product, service, or system. We think this is not the case of EPC procurement because that's not a completely new. And in principle, it could be suitable for experimental or highly innovative EPC projects. And yeah, in practice, this is probably not required for most, or if not all, EPC projects that are going to be planned and are planned by the Irish university. And the limitations, the problems with this approach is that it's very resource intensive and higher risk than competitive dialogue. The timelines for development and procurement are longer, and certainly is not suitable for standard or moderately complex EPC projects. So what are the recommendations to Irish universities about EPC procurement? Well, the recommendation is to adopt framework agreements combined with competitive dialogue. So the framework agreement is very efficient solution because it allows to pre-qualify the ESCOs, standardize the contract terms, and then run multiple mini competitions efficiently without repeating a full procurement process. Competitive dialogue enables structured discussions with the pre-qualified ESCOs and enables the co-development of innovative, tailored, and outcome-focused solutions for the EPCs at Irish universities. Yeah, then universities should encourage innovation, like setting energy and carbon targets and not necessarily prescribing the exact technical solutions, and then allow the ESCOs to propose innovative approaches to optimize the designs and find solution to integrate energy systems for the most complex projects. So this would focus is an approach that allows to focus on outcomes rather than inputs. So the universities can prioritize energy performances, cost effectiveness, and sustainability goals rather than establishing very detailed requirements on all the project bundles. The framework should allow, depending on the size of the project, participation also of SMEs. So encouraging the SMEs to participate in procurement processes is something that we believe is very valuable to develop the market and to have and allow a fair competition between ESCOs. Also, formation of partnerships and consortia should be encouraged because this widens the pool of suppliers that can bid for a certain project. And then having these frameworks will also allow to reduce risks and improve value for money. Adopting the competitive dialogue allows iterative refinement of technical, financial, contractual solutions and will optimize the outcomes and minimize the risks for the universities in engaging in energy performance contracts. After completing this part, we started determining some requirements for the pre-qualification questionnaire. So the questionnaire that will be given to the ESCOs that wish to pre-qualify for a certain framework. So the pre-qualification questionnaire is the first stage in the procurement process. If we adopt all the procedures that require pre-qualification, and in particular framework agreements and competitive dialogue. do require this. So the pre-qualification questionnaire is used to assess supplier suitability before tendering. And so this approach ensures that only financially sound, technically capable, and compliant energy service companies can bid and for many competitions issued by Irish universities. So with the pre-qualification questionnaire, the EasyPro project aims to assist the Irish universities in shortlisting the ESCOs and inviting the shortlisted ESCOs to participate in competitive dialogue mini competitions. We believe this aligns with the Irish and EU public procurement directives to ensure transparency, fairness, and value for money. So the pre-qualification questionnaire has different sections. First of all, there is a candidate summary. Candidate is the ESCO that is candidate to be pre-qualified. So this section includes company details, legal status, VAT, contact person, detail of each partner if it's a consortium, and formal agreements or memoranda of understanding also possible to be included. Financial capacity is a section that aims to collect audited financial statements, for example, the last 3 years, and to demonstrate that the company has sufficient turnover, solvency, and liquidity to deliver EPC projects of a scale that matches the scale of the project that is going to be procured in a certain in a certain framework. We can say insurance and tax compliance, so they have a proof of adequate insurance coverage, and have a tax clearance certificate, declaration of bona fides, confirmation of legal and ethical compliance, the ESCOs that, of course, reported the criminal convictions or insolvency or that didn't pay taxes are disqualified. In addition, the pre-qualification questionnaire aims to collect evidence about the previous experience, for example, requiring that at least 2 comparable EPC or energy efficiency projects were completed by the ESCO in the past 5 years. Provides a scope, so they must provide scope, value, duration, and technology used, savings guaranteed, and the MNV approach. For example, how they applied the IPMVP protocol. If the companies, the ESCOs, have already performed works in the public sector or with the university projects, more specifically, this is, of course, a significant advantage that should be taken into account. Also, the pre-qualification questionnaire should collect information about the company structure, resources, key personnel, project managers that work on energy performance contracting, MMV specialists, technical experts, including the qualifications of these professionals, and demonstration that they can manage the whole EPC life cycle, so design, delivery, the operation, and maintenance. There is also a section about health and safety, where the companies are required to provide information about their safety policy, if they have accidents, and compliance with the national HNS regulations, quality and environmental standards, if they have implemented ISO 9001 quality, ISO 14001, and ISO 50001 standards processes, and if they achieved certifications, if their work is aligned with public sector objectives like they have experience in deep retrofit electrification, fossil fuel removal, alignment with the climate action plan, the public sector energy efficiency programs, and other programs that, for example, SEI programs. Innovation and sustainability, well, here they are required to describe advanced technologies they've been working with, smart controls, data analytics, renewable integration, demonstrate that they have contributed to sustainability in a wider manner. This is also something that should be assessed by the questionnaire. Social responsibility, if they contributed to social, if they developed a social responsible way to work, and especially the project delivery approach. So they should be asked to outline the EPC delivery phases like scoping, design, financing, implementation, and the performance verification. Explain what is their risk management strategy to handle, to reduce technical, financial, and performance risks. The financing model that they propose, whether it's 100% ESCO funded, third-party finance, or using SEI or EU grants. We expect that many projects will use SEI grants to fund part of the EPC project, and show their readiness to adapt to future energy or carbon reduction opportunities. So what are the next steps that we envisage after these preliminary steps? So first of all, EasyPro is continuing to support the procuring bodies, so the four Irish universities, in completing building assessments necessary for compiling the technical files. So our goal is to assemble the technical files that will be provided to the ESCOs that in the future will participate in mini competition during the tendering phase. So EasyPro is collecting and organizing data, including all the data that needs to be provided to ESCOs, like annual energy consumption, costs, inventory of energy consuming equipment, HVAC system schematics, operation and maintenance manuals, building floor plans, any previously conducted feasibility studies, past energy efficiency projects, planned changes, if there are any, in building usage and restrictions on modifications to the buildings the ESCO should be aware of. And we are progressing with the development of an ESCO framework and ESCO pre-qualification. Well, not necessarily one framework. It could be, I think, two frameworks. For example, one framework for smaller projects and one framework for bigger EPC projects. The pre-qualification questionnaire, leveraging the recommendations that have been summarized in this presentation. And I think these are the next steps. So thank you for your participation in this webinar. And if you have any questions, yeah, please do not hesitate to ask. So we had during the first year of the project, one of the tasks that we performed was to review these procedures for public procurement, and analyze how to structure the pre-qualification questionnaire. So we are now moving to more to the development phase, where in parallel we have been assessing the project pipelines planned at the Irish universities, and now I think we are starting the actual development. So we will come up with more detailed proposals for structuring the frameworks and the procurement procedures to be adopted, and we'll make the pre-qualification questionnaire. This might be already done, though. After that, hopefully, if there are EPC projects that are approved by the universities, the procurement phase may start. That's the plan I think we have. And by the way, with this webinar, I think we would like to disseminate energy performance contracting and also the service that EasyPro is developing, which is a facilitation service, also to other universities. So there were 4 universities that supported this proposal, the project proposal, which are now supported by the project. But we are also interested in establishing a relationship with other Irish universities to scale up the impacts of the project and to facilitate even more energy performance contracts in Ireland. First of all, in the higher education sector, and after that, also possibly if that is something that we manage to do, it would be great also to approach other public, other sectors and subsectors of the public sector in Ireland, and of course replicate this also in other countries would be an ambition, but at the moment we focus on Irish universities. So that's the main objective of the project.